The Etruscans were an unusual civilization that flourished in ancient Italy long before Rome rose. They lived in Etruria, roughly where Tuscany is today. Their culture was rich: detailed tomb paintings, masterful bronze sculptures, and a network of city-states. Even with a big influence on Rome, one central mystery remains. That mystery is their language, strange and captivating, a whisper from a world long gone. The Etruscan language does not look like most ancient European languages. It is not related to Latin, Greek, or the Celtic languages. We can read the Etruscan alphabet, which was adapted from Greek writing. But the meaning of many words is still a big challenge. Most inscriptions are short: funeral texts, names, and family lists. We lack long documents like chronicles or literature, so rebuilding the grammar is limited. Only fragments of the spoken language remain. This gap opened the door to speculation and alternative theories. The central figure in this story is Tadeusz Wolanski, a 19th-century Polish amateur archaeologist and collector of antiquities. Wolanski developed a unique and highly controversial method for deciphering inscriptions. He gave Etruscan signs values known from Glagolitic and Cyrillic, then split and rearranged words. His method relied on visual and sound associations, not on comparative linguistics. In Letters on Slavic Antiquities, he published sensational readings, for example. The old woman came to life, she lay in the grave. To supporters, he was a revolutionary. Letter similarities were taken as proof of kinship. His books ended up on the Index of Forbidden Books, which some now see as a conspiracy. But the censorship came mainly from his claim that biblical figures had Slavic roots, seen as heresy. The conflict was religious and ideological, not philological. These theories were linked to the idea of a Lechitic empire and a different take on Europe's history. They assumed a migration of a powerful Slavic civilization into Italy. The idea of reading Etruscan inscriptions with a Slavic key sounds exciting, but it needs checking. Linguists, archaeologists, and geneticists paint a different picture. Etruscan is a non-Indo-European isolate. It does not belong to the family that includes Slavic, Germanic, Latin, Greek, or Sanskrit. Etruscan grammar is largely agglutinative, different from the inflected nature of Polish. These are conclusions of the comparative method, the gold standard in historical linguistics. It compares systems, grammar, sounds, and core vocabulary. There are no systematic links between Etruscan and Polish. Similar sounds are often coincidence or loanwords. The ancient world had many contacts. Words traveled between neighbors. Genetics. Ancient DNA from Etruscan graves has been tested many times. The results: the Etruscans were genetically close to other Italic peoples, including the Latins. Their profile matches the people who live in Tuscany today. This supports the idea of a native people with a relic language before Italic tongues arrived. There is no need to propose migration from Eastern Europe. The Etruscans appear as a local people, keeping their culture and language for centuries. This view supports the convergence of evidence: linguistics, archaeology, and genetics. The result: a solid, internally consistent academic consensus. On a monument in Phrygia there is text: Arties, Archiphis, Akenanogaphos, Midai, Lafagtai, Phanekte, Edais. Wolanski, by splitting and rearranging, made the phrases sound Slavic. Scholars read it in a Phrygian context as a dedication to Midas. Terms like Ides are taken as verbs of dedication. No resurrections of grandmothers. The meaning comes from systematic analysis, not sound matches. The Pergi tablets, a bilingual text, Etruscan and Phoenician. Bilingualism lets us assign meanings to many Etruscan words. The text is about the dedication of a temple to the goddess Uni by Thefari Velianus in Caere. The Phoenician version confirms the religious context of the dedication. Lechitic readings ignore the names, gods, and verbs. They do not match the Phoenician. An external test exposes the weakness of Wolanski's method. The bilingual texts are an independent reference point that limits free-form readings. This is not a fight over one word, but a conflict of methods. Wolanski looks at letters and small groups, seeking visual and sound matches. Dividing words and assigning sound values can be arbitrary. It starts with the assumption of Slavic origin and then fits the data to it. This is like pareidolia, seeing patterns where there are none. That flexibility allows endless, untestable readings. Science studies whole systems, morphology, syntax, and phonology. Relationships are found by regular correspondences, not by chance resemblances. Systematic sound change rules are the basis for comparisons. Bilinguals test hypotheses and limit freedom to invent meanings. The scholarly translation matches the Phoenician, the Slavic one does not. Conclusion: we need critical thinking and respect for research protocols. Did the Etruscans speak Polish? In the light of linguistics, archaeology, and genetics, definitely not. Etruscan is a pre-Indo-European isolate, a fascinating fossil of Europe. Progress comes from slow comparisons and context analysis, helped by rare bilinguals. The popularity of the Lechitic theory shows a need for myth and pride. It is part of culture, not scientific proof. The lesson: tell the difference between a guess and proof, and value scientific methods. The quest to understand the Etruscans goes on. Each new inscription brings us closer to their voice. The charm of a lost language lies in its very Etruscanness. Let it speak in its own words, patiently and without bias.